Dear viewers and followers of our channel, now I am discussing about the PNB, Punjab National Bank Scale 4 to 5 promotional exam dated 21st February 2021. These are memory based recorded questions. These questions are very useful for your forthcoming promotional exam preparations. From this, we can judge that where you have to concentrate more in your preparation. Now, first question, small and marginal farmers priority sector lending target for the year 2022-23 is 9.5%. And small and marginal farmers target for 2021 is 8%, 2021, 2022 9%, 2022, 23 9.5, 23 and 24 10%. This is the revised change in the priority sector targets for small and marginal farmers. Marginal farmers means land holding up to 1 hectare, small means up to 2 hectares. Now, exam question what they had given, investment and turnover. Investment is 28 crores and turnover is 90 crores. It will comes under MSME medium sector. What is the definition for MSME medium sector, medium enterprise? Investment in plant and machinery or equipment not exceeding 50 crores and turnover not exceeding 250 crores. That is the definition for medium enterprise. So this correct answer is medium enterprise. For micro enterprises, original investment in plant and machinery not exceeding 1 crore and turnover not exceeding 5 crores. Small enterprises, original investment in plant and machinery not exceeding 10 crores and turnover not exceeding 50 crores. This is the third question. Repairs to damaged dwelling units in metro centers under priority sector 10 lakhs we can give. And other centers we can give up to 6 lakhs for repairs. Fourth one, hypothecation defined in which act? Surface Act 2002. Now, further extension, mortgage defined under Transfer of Property Act, pledge defined under Indian Contract Act. Fifth, exam question is intangible assets. Exam answer is software they are given. Now, other intangible assets are goodwill, patents, trademarks, copyrights, etc. That is question number fifth. Sixth, what is the object of Pradhan Mantri Swanidhi scheme? To facilitate working capital loan up to 10,000 at a subsidized rate of interest of 7%. Repayment within 12 months. Second point, to incentivize regular repayment of loan and to reward digital transactions. This is the question number 6. In almost all banks, they are asking this question, PM Swanidhi scheme. Seventh question, under call money, notice money, how much a bank can lend to other banks? Call money, notice money, lending by banks from other banks. 25% of capital funds and subject to maximum borrowing of any day during a fortnight being 50%. So, under call money, notice money, one bank can lend to other banks 25% of capital funds normally. On any particular day, during the fortnight, maximum 50% of capital funds. Here, capital funds means tier 1 capital and tier 2 capital. So, this is very important. Call money means overnight, notice money means 2 to 14 days. From 1 to 14 days, how much one bank lend to other banks? 25% of capital funds and subject to a maximum borrowing on any one particular day not exceeding 50% during the fortnight of capital funds, tier 1 and tier 2 capital. So, call money, notice money, borrowing from other banks. Call money, notice money, 1 to 14 days, borrowing from other banks. Bank can borrow 100% of capital funds, normally 1 to 14 days. On any one particular day, it can go up to 125% of tier 1 and tier 2 capital. This is most important for all the scales. They are asking this important. Call money, notice money, 1 to 14 days. Question number 7. 8. Question number 8. NPA, doubtful 2 account. That given in the examination. NPA, non-performing asset, doubtful 2 account. Outstanding balance is 20 lakhs. Value of security is 12 lakhs. So, balance is 20 lakhs. value of security is 12 lakhs means unsecured amount is 8 lakhs. Now, what is the provision amount in this example? That is 12.8 lakhs. How it is? Provision on secured portion. Secured portion is 12 lakhs. Doubtful to secured portion, NPA provision is 40% of outstanding. 12 lakhs into 40%, that is 4 lakh 80,000. Unsecured portion, unsecured amount is 8 lakhs. On unsecured portion, 100%, 8 lakhs. So total provision is 4 lakh 80 plus 8 lakhs, 12 lakh 80. Compulsory, they are asking one question on NPA provision calculation in all banks, all scales. So this is the question number 8 regarding provision calculation in NPA. Question number 9, CRILIC main reporting. 5 crores and above advances, monthly banks has to report to RBI. The 5 crores includes fund-based and non-fund-based advances. Of 5 crores and above, monthly they have to report to RBI under CRILIC. CRILIC means Central Repository of Information on Large Credits. In some examinations, they are asking the abbreviation of CRILIC. Central Repository of Information on Large Credit. If the account in default category, 5 crores and above account is in default category, then weekly reporting on every Friday, the bank has to report to RBI. So CRILIC reporting is part of monitoring by RBI. That's why this is also very important for all scales. Question number 9. Question number 10, that is video-based customer identification process. Now almost all banks are going for video-based customer identification process. A method of customer identification by an official of the regulated entity by undertaking seamless, secure, real-time, consent-based audio-visual interaction. So this is as good as face-to-face process of KYC. The video-based customer identification process is as good as face-to-face KYC process. No. In some examinations, some banks they are asking what is meant by VCIP, video-based customer identification process. So question number 10 was also very important for all the banks and all the scales. 11, question number 11, FATCA means Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act of United States of America. This is abbreviation. This is also most of the banks they are asking this question, FATCA, Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act. Now, NRO, non-resident ordinary accounts, TDS, in all the non-resident ordinary accounts, interest, bank has to deduct TDS. At the time of collection of TDS, what rate bank has to deduct? If the NRI is residing in a double taxation avoidance agreement country, you have to follow that TDS as per that agreement rates. Otherwise, as per our Income Tax Act rates. So this is also important from the TDS point of NRO accounts. Sometimes they are asking DTAA abbreviation, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement. DTAA, Double Taxation Avoidance Agreement, or NRO ordinary accounts, TDS collection based on DTAA agreement with that country, or if the NRI is not residing in that country, you have to collect TDS as per our Income Tax Act rates. This is about 12th. 13, this is the latest and most important. Initial subvention for financing under this is interest subvention for financing under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Interest subvention for financing under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. That is not initial interest subvention for financing under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. That is interest subvention of 3% per annum up to limit of 2 crores. So under this interest subvention for financing under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund, customers are getting interest subvention of 3% per annum up to loan of 2 crores. This subvention will be available up to a maximum period of 7 years. This is very important scheme, which was very latest scheme. Further, credit guarantee coverage will also available from CGTMSE. Up to 2 crores, the loan is covered under CGTMSE, and the fee for the CGTMSE will be paid by the government. So this is the latest scheme, interest subvention for financing under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. Interest subvention of 3% per annum up to limit of 2 crores and up to for 7 years. This is a very good scheme. Covered under CGTMSE, and the CGTMSE fees was also paid by the government. That is the question number 13. Interest subvention for financing under Agriculture Infrastructure Fund. 14th question, REROC. This is 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. Almost in all banks, they are asking this question. 3 to 4, scale 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. Risk adjusted return on capital. At the time of consideration of proposals, project finance, term loans or investments, bank has to consider the REROC. In decision making, REROC may be applied as a thumb rule as if risk adjusted return on capital is more than cost of capital, then only there is a valuation to the bank. Then only banks are going to consider that loan or that investment. So, as for the respective bank's loan policy, banks has to calculate risk adjusted return on capital at the time of sanctioning of term loan or project finance as prescribed the limits in respect to bank's credit policy or loan policy. The thumb rule is if REROC, risk adjusted return on capital, is more than cost of capital of the bank or adjusted average capital of the bank, then only there is a valuation, then only the bank is getting some additional income from the tech finance. Now, what is the use of REROC? Accept the proposal or for rejection of the proposal. Loan pricing. Based on REROC, pricing of the loan is also depends. And based on REROC, structuring collateral. How much collateral we can take in this account, that is also there. Leverage. Based on this REROC, bank can take the leverage, either low leverage or high leverage based on this. Compare profitability across business segments, that also will be there. Now, question number 15, commercial real estate. In almost all banks, they are asking this question. Provision on standard advances, commercial real estate. Provision on standard advances, commercial real estate 1%. Provision on standard advance of commercial real estate 1%. Provision on CRE, residential housing sector 0.75%. 0.75%. CRE advances, provision is 1% on standard advances. Residential housing sector, CRE 0.75% provision. Risk weight for CRAR purpose. On the commercial real estate, for the purpose of calculation of capital adequacy ratio, what is the risk weight for the commercial real estate advance? 100%. And for capital adequacy purpose, commercial real estate, residential housing, risk weight is 75%. Almost all banks in all scales, they are asking this question number 15, commercial real estate, provision on standard advances and capital requirement, risk weight for CRAR purpose. Question number 16, PMAY, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. For middle income group 1, what is the loan repayment period? 20 years. Now, under PMAY scheme, maximum loan tenure for all categories of early economic weaker sections, lower income group, middle income group 1, middle income group 2, maximum repayment period is 20 years. The same question was asked in so many other banks also. So, for the examination preparation purpose, Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, better to read the entire scheme. This is about question number 16. Question number 17, COVID-19 related relaxations in benchmark ratios at the time of restructuring. In that benchmark ratios, what ratio was not included? That is the question. So, return on equity was not included in the COVID-19 related relaxation benchmark ratios. In that ratio, return on equity was not included. What ratios were included as per KV Kamath recommendations expert committee? Total outside liability to adjusted tangible net worth, number one. Number two, total debit to earnings before interest, tax, depreciation and amortization. These two are industry specific as per the circular given in that committee report. And remaining three ratios are uniform for all industries. What are that uniformity? Current ratio, debt service coverage ratio, and average debt service coverage ratio. These three are uniform for all the sectors. Current ratio 1 is to 1, debt service coverage ratio 1 is to 1, and average debt service coverage ratio 1.2 is to 1. These three are uniform for all the sectors. These two are sector specific ratios. Which benchmark ratio not covered means? Under this means return on equity, that is 17. 18. Under SARFAESI Act. So this is important for all scales. Immediate registration of collateral security under SARFAESI to get priority of charge on assets. That is, as per section 26D, right of enforcement of securities registration with the central registrar. So once after the sanction of the loan, the banks has to register with the SARFAESI registration, SARFAESI immediately for getting security. Now, as per amendment of SARFAESI Act, section 26D, without SARFAESI registration, bankers cannot go for enforcement of security interest. That's why to get priority, bankers have to register the collateral securities. And what are the eligible securities under SARFAESI? They have to register with SARFAESI. That is the question number 18. Question number 19, gold monetization deposit scheme. What is the medium term deposit period? This is the exam question, 5 to 7 years. This is the exam question is gold monetization scheme, medium term deposit 5 to 7 years. Now, rate of interest on this is 2.25%. This is. Now, additionally, short term deposit initially made for 3 years could be rolled over for another year. Interest rate on this deposit at bank discretion. And long term deposit scheme for 12 to 15 years, no roll is permitted and rate of interest is 2.5. 2.5. Lock-in period is 5 years. This is about gold monetization scheme. In almost all exams, they are asking this question also. This is question number 19. Question number 20 on the screen. Counterfeit currency report to submission to FIU IND. The bank as a whole, after completion of the month, next month, 15th of the succeeding month, they have to submit bank as a whole. Counterfeit notes received during that month, they have to submit to FIU IND by next month 15th. This is the counterfeit currency report. FIU IND means Financial Intelligence Unit India. Financial Intelligence Unit India. This is a central national agency responsible for receiving, processing and analyzing, disseminating information about the financial transactions. This is about counterfeit currency report to FIU IND 15th, 20th question. So this is also important because cash transactions report to suspicious transaction report to counterfeit currency reporting. The three reportings are very important. Then, which one not covered under operational risk? In the examination, they are given liquidity. Liquidity risk is not part of operational risk. Liquidity risk means the bank is facing a problem. The organization is facing some liquidity problem. Liquidity means unable to meet its payment obligations as for as for time. Liquidity risk is different, operational risk is different. This is the exam question. Under operational risk, liquidity risk is not covered. Then what is meant by operational risk extension? He is defined as the risk of loss resulting from inadequate or failed internal process, people and system, or from internal events or external events, documentation failure. It includes legal risk but excludes strategic and reputational risk. So, Operation risk is very important as of today because lot of things are happening. Inadequate or failed internal process, frauds, people, huh? People intervention, systems, non-compliances, system failures, system hacking, all will come under part of operational risk. Then two questions they are given about operation risk. 22 question number. Capital charge for operation risk. Capital charge for operation risk under basic indicator approach. Under basic indicator approach, what is the capital requirement under operational risk? That is 15% of average positive gross income of previous 3 financial years. So that is the capital requirement for operational risk under basic indicator approach as per Basel III. So all banks has to maintain capital for operational risk also. How much capital required? 15% of average positive gross income of previous 3 financial years. That is the. What are the methods for assessing operational risk? Now, first method is basic indicator approach, BIA. This method presently all banks are using. Then second method is standardized approach. Third method is advanced measurement approach. As of date, all banks in India you are using basic indicator approach for calculating of capital charge for operation risk under Basel III. So this is question number 22. Question number 23. Tier 1 capital instruments or Tier 1 capital elements. What are the Tier 1 capital eligible instruments? So this is common shares, share premium, statutory reserves, capital reserves. Statutory reserves means before declaration of dividend, bank had to transfer to statutory reserve 25% of their profits. Capital reserve means profit from sale of fixed assets. And any other disclosed free reserves are there, that also part of Tier 1 capital. Balance in profit and loss account of the previous year, that also part of Tier 1 capital. Revaluation, assets revaluation, fixed assets revaluation reserves at a discount of 55%. So any bank is revaluing the fixed assets. Out of that fixed assets revaluation fund, 55% you have to deduct, remaining 45% you have to include to Tier 1 capital. So this is called Tier 1 capital instruments. This foreign currency translation reserve at a discount of 25%. So any bank is having foreign bank branches for the finalization, amalgamation, consolidation of their balance sheet with the domestic unit, the domestic bank balance sheet. They are converting the foreign bank branches balance sheet into domestic bank balance sheet as on 31st March. Again, next day, they are transferring to converting into foreign currency. Because of that foreign currency conversion, any profit is there to that bank. That profit is also part of foreign currency translation, fluctuation profit at a discount of 25. Whatever the bank is having the foreign currency translation reserve, out of that you have to discount 25%. It means remaining 75% we can add to Tier 1 capital. This is Tier 1 capital, very, very important for 3 to 4 and 4 to 5 scale examination. 24. Question number 24. Elements are part of Tier 2 capital. Tier 2 capital. Now, elements of Tier 2 capital are general provisions on standard advances. Banks, we are providing provision on standard advances. Agriculture, SME and housing loans 0.25% of outstanding. Others 0.4% of outstanding. Commercial real estate 1%. CRE residential housing 0.75%. All these provisions part of general provisions on standard assets part of Tier 2 capital. Floating provisions not against any specific asset. Bank is maintaining more provisions that comes under part of floating provisions. Provisions held for country exposure. If any bank is having branches abroad, so on the abroad branch assets also the bank has to maintain country risk provision. So country risk provision also we are part of Tier 2 capital. Country risk provision minimum 0.25% to maximum 100%. That also will part of Tier 2 capital. Investment reserve account, that also part of Tier 2 capital. All these items together we can take as part of Tier 2 capital up to a maximum of 1.25% of total credit risk weighted assets. All these items we can take part of Tier 2 capital up to a maximum of 1.25% of total credit risk weighted assets. Other Tier 2 capital instruments are perpetual cumulative preference shares. Perpetual cumulative preference shares. It means in any particular 1 year, the bank has not paid the dividend on this preference shares. The dividend is going to be cumulative. Redeemable, repayable, non-cumulative. Dividend is not going to be cumulative. Redeemable, repayable, cumulative. Current year dividend is going to be cumulated for the next years. And the Tier 2 capital instruments, minimum original maturity of 5 years. And there are no step-up options or other any incentives. Step-up option means the instrument has to continue from the issue date to redemption date, same terms and conditions. In between, the banks are not allowed to increase the increase or rate of interest or change in the terms and conditions are not allowed. That is called no step-up options or other incentives. Investment fluctuation reserve, which the banks has to create on held for trading and available for securities as a part of RBI guidelines. Also, part of investment fluctuation reserve, part of Tier 2 capital without any ceiling on this amount. This is about elements or part of Tier 2 capital. This is also important, very important for 3 to 4 and 4 to 5. The question number 24. Question number 25, ombudsman scheme, banking ombudsman scheme. Banking ombudsman cannot entertain the cases if the loan is rejected with valid ground. This is the exam question. If loan is rejected with a valid and reasonable ground, that complaint cannot be entertained by the banking ombudsman scheme. This is correct. Valuation of securities. What is the out of these three? Mark to market of mark to market. Mark to market of securities, that is valuation of securities. Net present value, this is capital budgeting technique. Value at risk, risk management tool. So valuation of securities is banks are doing valuation of securities as per mark to market valuation based on current market prices. So correct answer is mark to market valuations. Bank investment classifications are 27. Internally, banks are classifying the investments in following categories. Held to maturity or held till maturity, that is permanent securities, normally SLR securities. Held for trading securities. Held for trading and available for sale. So these are the bank's internal classification of investment. And banks have to classify these investment classification on the date of purchase or acquisition of investments. Whenever the bank is going for purchase, on the day itself, they have to classify these investments as under held to maturity or held for trading or AFS category, available for sale. That is classification of investment 27. Number 28, Surface Act 2002. Notice before sale, 30 days notice you have to. Whenever a bank is going under securitization sale, before sale, 30 days notice is required. That 30 days notice, Rule 9, Sub Rule 1, published in a newspaper also. They have to publish in a newspaper also. So, Surface Act 2002, notice before sale is 30 days and that has to be published in 2 newspapers. That is 28. 29, BCSBI. BCSBI customer rights. 5 basic rights for bank customers laid down by RBI as under. Right to fair treatment to the customer. Right to transparency, fair and honest dealing with the customer. Right to suitability. Whenever you are selling any product, whether that is suitable to the customer or not. Right to privacy, you have to maintain the secrets of the customer information. Right to grievance redressal and compensation. So customer complaints are going to be resolved, and if any loss is there to the customer, bank has to pay the compensation. These are the 5 customer rights as per BCSBI RBI guidelines. In almost all banks, 3 to 4 and 4 to 5, they are asking this question. Question number 30, One Nation, One Card. This is Government of India initiative. National Common Mobility Card, NCMC, One Nation, One Card. National Common Mobility Card. This is a single card that can be used for making all kinds of payments at transportation, parking, grocery payments, purchases, toll and transit payments also. So almost all in one. One nation, one card, National Common Mobility Card. This is the 30th question. 31, whistleblower policy. Whistleblower policy. 30. Then this is under public interest disclosure and protection of informers. Under this whistleblower policy, complaints are going to be dealt by chairman of audit committee of the board. Audit committee board head is going to deal with the whistleblower complaints. Number 1. Number 2, the competent authority, that is the chairman of the audit committee of the board, shall make discrete inquiry within maximum period of 45 days. Within 45 days, they have made discrete inquiries. Now, this head of the whistleblower complaint, some banks, there may be change also. That's why, respect to banks, you have to see your internal guidelines. Who is the head of the whistleblower policy complaint? Number 2, complaint authority shall deal inquiry within maximum 45 days. It may differ to bank also. Some banks may be differ. That's why this is a particular bank. Other banks, officer staff has to see your internal. Normally, this is the chairman of audit committee of the board. Within 45 days, they have to make discrete inquiries. 3 to 4 and 45 in almost all banks, they are asking this question. This policy was framed in the light of provisions of Companies Act 2013, RBI guidelines, SEBI guidelines as applicable. Because SEBI guidelines, since almost all banks are listed banks. So, since listed bank, they have to follow SEBI guidelines and RBI guidelines also. That's why this is, now as of today, this is going to be very important topic for all the promotion exams. 32, under section 138 of NI Act. Under section 138 of NI Act, bankers or payee can file complaints about dishonor of check for initiation of funds in the account. That they can file with the case with the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate of Chief Judicial Magistrate. So, section 138 and 143A and 148 also important sections in connection with 138. 143A and 148 both are connected with section 138. The punishments. That's why this NI Act, this section is very important for all the scales. So, for remaining questions, anybody want, please call on our number, and I am requesting, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for JAB, CAB promotion exam videos. And remaining questions from this examination, if anybody want, please call on my number. This is my presentation on PNB scale 4 to 5 recalled questions.